All right, time now for He's the King. And of course, we are joined, as always, by the king himself, Gary Margolis, legendary Southern California gambler, sports bettor, and rack and tour. Last week, not a good week for the king. He's now 24-19-1 for the season. That's hovering around 50%, 55%, more Prince-like than king-like. But trust me, he is the king. He's not dropping below 55%. So, Mr. Margolis, Mr. King, how are you this week?
I'm good, Norman.
Yeah, you look pretty
Disappointed
healthy.
about last week, but
The vertical blinds behind you, have they ever been opened?
never.
Okay, I didn't think so, but they look damn clean. We got a big slate of NFL playoff games this weekend. Last week, by the way, all the underdogs did very well. I took all the underdogs. I was 5-1, which is a rare, very good week for me. This week we have 4 home favorites, of course, as we always do in the NFL playoffs. What say you?
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about all 4 games, but I'm only going to play 2. Let's talk
Okay.
about the 2 I'm not playing, but I'm going to tell you who I'm leaning towards. But I won't actually make a play on them. So we'll start with Baltimore-Buffalo, which I consider the hardest game. It's 2.5. It's really there's theories that make both teams good here. Buffalo would be my choice if I had to make a play, but I'd be very afraid to make a play because the Buffalo is going to have to stop the run. Obviously, with Baltimore, the greatest running team in the history of the NFL, is with Lamar and the running backs. They're very tough. In the Chiefs-Brown, it's again the same thing, except it's a little different. One, you're getting 10 points. I almost played this because the Browns getting 10 just seems like a lot. So I definitely would lean towards the Browns if I had to make a play. But the Browns themselves, it comes down to Baker. If Baker complete those good passes in between them running through the Chiefs, you never know. I mean, this could almost end up an upset, and 10 just seems like a big number, but I'm going to pass on it because the Chiefs are the Chiefs.
All right, I don't pass on anything. Just so you know, I'm taking all 4 favorites this week, reversing my all 4 underdogs last week. So I do agree with you that the Bills game is a very tough game. I just go with an anti-John Harbaugh thing, as you well know. I think any Harbaugh winning is bad for the future of our republic. So I think the Bills, who have not thrown in a clunker for a long time, hopefully can, they are favored in this one by 2.5. As you said, the line is 10 on the Chiefs. The Browns have been playing really, really well, and it's not like I expect the Chiefs to turn it on all of a sudden, but I just think they're capable of running away in this game, and I will take the Chiefs with a big offensive performance, for the first one they've had in quite a while. So I'll take both those favorites, and now we'll get to the games in which you're actually putting your reputation on. Whatever.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment about him.
Sure.
Before I met you, Norman, my favorite reporter of all time was a man named Steve Harvey, and he did the bottom 10. And he used to always kill, because at the time, this must be 35, 40 years. I don't remember the exact timetable, but I remember Tampa was terrible. And he would always say, Tampa at bay. And then when Green was bad, too, it was like Green at bay. It was just funny. He's a very funny guy, just like yourself. And I appreciated his humor. And doing the bottom 10 was just, it was just a one call. I'm sure it was syndicated. I read it in the LA Times.
Yeah, he was from out here. That was one of the most brilliant sports writing things I ever saw when he created the bottom 10. And then his comments were funny, and it's been imitated by other people since then. But yeah, he was the first, and I'm glad you've mentioned him, Mr. Steve Harvey.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's passed or if he's, because it was probably a long time ago. So
well, he's probably on the other side of those vertical blinds, and if you just open them, you'd see that he's peering in to see what the king looks like. All right, which 2 games are you now? You were going to the 2 games in which you were staking your rep on.
So we're on the bays. I'm on both bays. We'll start with Green. So I'm going to lay the 6.5, and it's part of my theory. Like, I will admit I was wrong about the Rams, but the reason I was so wrong is everyone else in their division I overrated. Like I said, Seattle. And I thought the Cardinals were actually good. The Rams killed them. So the Rams got all these wins that I penciled as losses. That division was horrible compared to what people – if you could go back, and you know how you trace me down for every mistake I say, you should trace down the all the guys on TV who were calling it the great division #1. It didn't even come close to the AFC.
Okay. I would prefer, sir. I would prefer if you just admitted you were wrong, as you were about the Rams, and instead of giving us the reason you were wrong. Let's say I'm sorry. I tell my wife I slept with your sister, but the reason I slept with your sister, she looked a lot like you. Just tell us you're wrong. You were wrong on the Rams, and the division wasn't as good as other people thought. Thank you. But now you were wrong on the Rams.
My original premise was that the division, but at the Rams I happened to pick on the most, which was obviously a mistake. Okay. So, but the whole thing is the two quarterbacks who are playing against the Rams, against someone named Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that is such a mismatch. And I know the Rams' defense is pretty good, but offenses dominate in this part of the NFL. I mean, all these teams seem to have solid defenses, but solid defenses do nothing. Pittsburgh against Cleveland, I mean, you just see them. These are good defenses. They're quite good. Tampa was really rated high, and then now he's kind of the Saints. They have a lot of bad games on defense. It's unbelievable. A good offense just kills a good defense, and this game is, to me, so one-sided. The Rams' offense, between an injured Goff, who isn't even very good anyways, and the backup, forget that. I mean, and I don't know what's wrong with him. His neck. I mean, it seemed like that hit was so light too.
Well, it's we're not doctors. We don't know what that was like, but I am with you, as you know, on this one. And you're on a rare favorite here, given nearly a touchdown. But that's how much you now know that the Packers are good, and I know you don't like the Rams to begin with. So they have won 11 games now. Remember?
I like the Rams. I just don't think they're good.
Okay.
And in fact, one of the other things I liked about the game, it opened at 7 and quickly went to 6.5. So I love to bet the other side. So it usually, most games will open at 7, go to 7.5 or 8. When it goes to 6.5, it's like saying, wow. So.
All right, well, let's go to that final game, which actually I believe the Saints and the Bucks, that might open at 3.5 and quickly went to 3. But I think you're going against the Bucks, against the Saints in this one.
I'm going with the public on this one because I think this is too obvious. Tampa has been playing crazy out of their mind for a few weeks now, and the Saints are just playing. They've never been the same since Breeze's injury. They haven't played that great any of these games. I don't think they've had a crazy easy schedule. I mean, not that Tampa had a really hard schedule, but Tampa they're up to over 30 points a game. This is the Tampa everyone thought they were going to be. And remember that game when they lost by over 30 points, game 2 against New Orleans. They thought Tampa was ready, but they obviously weren't. Both of their top 2 receivers were injured. Had injured. Had broken his finger, and Evans was limping, and Antonio wasn't really in the offense yet. So now they're all going. So the big 3 are, you got 3 crazy receivers there, and then you got good tight ends. You got 2 that can catch, and the running game's fine. So I think Tampa's the better team, and you're getting a field goal. To me, it's a gift.
Okay, you might be right. I'm sympathetically, on a sympathetic standpoint, I'm rooting for both Tom Brady and Drew Brees. I love Brady's, comeback story after leaving New England. I love that he's getting the better of Belichick right now. This might be Drew Brees' last season. And so again, I've told you, I'm taking the Saints. At home, Superdome's going to have like 150,000 people in it. Just Tom Brady won't be able to even hear the make the audibles because that place is going to be so loud. And they've beat him twice already. And I don't like that business king about it's hard to beat somebody 3 times in a year. When it's really hard to beat somebody 3 times in a year? When you've lost them twice already. So I think they can beat him a 3rd time, even though, as you say, the Bucks are playing really well. You will take the Bucks -3. All right. So +3. So to review your 2 picks, you will have you're taking one favorite, the Packers -6.5. You are taking the Bucks +3. By the way, the other day I was over in Northridge. I saw you walking into a car wash. I don't know who walks into a car wash, and people were shouting out "King, King, King." It was amazing. Will you tell me again, why do they call you the King?
I am the King.
Okay, that's a pretty good argument. All right, sir, Mr. King, thank you very much. Good luck with these picks, and we will see you again next week.
Definitely, Norman. Have a great weekend.